Part 42. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 415. After Dong Fangling left, Wang Shuo also hurried to Shanghai City. When Zhu Dongheng heard Wang Shuo talking about the alliance, he immediately said, "This is a good thing. It can greatly reduce our pressure. I also agree with forming an alliance, but we still have to take precautions. Even if we have allies, we cannot take it lightly. That's natural. Before the barrier disappears completely, we must do our best to improve our military strength." After the three people discussed it, Wang Shuo and Zhao Bond returned to the territory together. They came to the resource exchange stone together. When it comes to understanding the resource exchange stone, Zhao Bond is the most knowledgeable. The resource exchange stone has been deeply developed by Wang Shuo, Zhao Bang, and others. It has reached the point where it can be exchanged for a high-level general's job transfer certificate. Zhao Bondang knew that as long as the Dawei territory was completely connected to the outside world and the resources were exchanged for stones, they would disappear. Therefore, you must seize this last opportunity and redeem as many useful things as possible. The general's job transfer certificate is undoubtedly a very cost-effective thing. In addition, Toolman is also a good choice. Wang Shuo continued to exchange tools for people from the resource exchange office to replenish his manpower. At the same time, the original middle-level officers were transferred to military generals. He also called all the commanders together. "I hope that in 2 months, you will all be able to become warrior generals." Wang Shuo had already distributed the promotion pills to them, and also took out a large number of pills. In the subsequent wars, without the strength of the generals, I am afraid they will only become cannon fodder. Just as Wang Shuo continued to improve the strength of Wana City, half a month passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Hadro teleported over with Master Bronze Hammer. Master Bronze Hammer has a long beard, his arms are as thick as an ordinary person's thighs, and a giant hammer hangs from his waist. Wang Shuo felt his aura and found out that he was a high-level warrior. Wang Shuo couldn't help but stand in awe. "Not simple. You just want to create a Shura suit?" Master Bronze Hammer asked curiously, while his eyes kept wandering around Wang Shuo. Wang Shuo felt very uncomfortable under Master Bronze Hammer's gaze, but he still said bravely, "That's right. What is the title of Shura you received?" "Red Eyes." "Do you know the function of the Shura title?" Wang Shuo was shocked. "Does the title still have any effect?" He doesn't know this. "I just received the title not long ago, and I haven't heard about it yet." Master Bronze Hammer laughed, "You kid, you don't think you can ask me for just 3 feathers? To be honest, I only agreed to build this set of equipment for you because of the reputation of the Shura title. Remember, in the future, when others ask who built your equipment, remember to give me my name." Wang Shuo naturally said yes. "When the Shura suit is finished, you will know what your title is and what it does." Immediately, Wang Shuo brought Master Bronze Hammer to the blacksmith shop in his territory. When the blacksmiths saw a master-level blacksmith, their hearts felt like a storm. Mutar even prostrated himself on the ground, his heart full of piety. "Welcome, Master Bronze Hammer, I will be honored in this life, and I will die without regrets." Wang Shuo found it difficult to understand Mutar's behavior. He did not expect that a master-level blacksmith would have such a distinguished status. Master Bronze Hammer heard this and looked at Mutar. "Have you heard of me? The reputation of the Grand Master is like thunder piercing my ears." Wang Shuo was shocked. In his mind, Mutar never flattered anyone. "Very good, I just need a helper, it's you." Mutar was so happy that he didn't know where to put his hands. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 416. Mutar drove all the other blacksmiths to another place, and only the 2 of them were left in the blacksmith shop. Udon was standing at the door, guarding the door eagerly. He also wanted to go in, but he didn't dare to go in because of his master's order. Wang Shuo was also a little amused. It was a pity that he couldn't forge iron, otherwise, he would be almost the same as them. It was a very complicated thing to make the Shura suit, otherwise it wouldn't be possible. Only the master-level blacksmith was qualified to make it. Wang Shuo was full of expectations when the master personally took action. Wang Shuo returned to his residence and waited patiently. At the same time, the situation in the Xinwu Empire changed suddenly. The old emperor passed away. History is always surprisingly similar. More than 1,000 years ago, the old emperor of the North Sea Empire passed away and the empire fell apart. This time, the Xinwu Empire, which inherited most of the territory of the North Sea Empire, also faced the same situation. The most important reason is that the area of the empire is too large to be managed uniformly. This model of vassal states is very easy to cultivate some potential opponents. Especially in the small vassal states, there appeared the sword god, the knife emperor, the gun god, and other strongest king-level strongmen. One person can destroy a small country. Small countries will quickly evolve into big countries, and then threaten the central empire. If the Central Empire is in an unstable internal situation at this time, such as internal power struggles, political corruption, etc., then the external vassal states will become external threats. The old emperor of the Xinwu Empire passed away, the eldest prince Mindan was killed by his younger brother, the second prince, and the other princes fled in a hurry. With the support of their own forces, they all claimed to be orthodox. The princes sought support from the vassal states almost overnight. The Xinwu Empire was divided into 4 major factions. The second prince, the third prince, the seventh prince and the neutral faction. Of course, the lords near the Iron Great Wall in the extreme south of the Xinwu Empire naturally have no time to care about the affairs of the Shendu, which is tens of thousands of miles away. They are not qualified to care. Lu Hong is now only thinking about how to unify the nearby forces and then establish a country. Dongfangke, Guangzhou, and even the 3 county governors in the Dawei area were thinking about how to deal with the upcoming threat. All forces were gearing up, and war seemed to be the eternal theme of this continent. Wang Shuo was also stepping up his training. After being promoted to an intermediate general, Wang Shuo also upgraded his qualifications to S level. The equivalent level of an intermediate general is 80 to 90, and Wang Shuo's level has reached 83 at this time. 2 of the sets of skills, Black Dragon Sutra has been cultivated to the 6th level, and Dragon Spear Method has been cultivated to the 5th level, and it is almost time to break through the 6th level. 7 days later, someone reported to Wang Shuo that Master Tong Chui had completed the Shura suit. Wang Shuo was extremely excited. He hurried to the blacksmith shop. In the blacksmith shop, Mutar was serving Master Tong Chui tea. Next to him, a set of armor was hung on a bracket, and a long spear was erected next to it. The whole set of armor was black gold. A closer look showed that the patterns on it formed a complex formation, as if it was made by nature. Red-eyed Shura, try your armor. Master Tong Chui took a sip of tea and said with a smile. After Wang Shuo thanked him, he immediately put on the armor. Instantly, his temperament changed drastically. Wang Shuo immediately checked his attributes. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 417. ID, SAC 5678 Wang Shuo. Level, Level 83. Strength, 3284, 224 at 3000 at 60. Constitution, 3288, 228 at 3000 at 60. Agility, 2204, 144 add 2000 add 60. Energy, 2185, 125 add 2000 add 60. Life skills, 1 smoothing mud, level 4, 2 making mud pits, level 3. Combat attribute panel. Attack power, 41,180, 32,840 add 10,000 add 300. Defense power, 7,860. Commander value, 1256. Reputation value, 6150. Health value, 41180. Internal force value, 8000. Skills, Dragon Spear Art, 5th level, Black Dragon Sutra, 6th level. Combat skills, 1 Summon Mud Puppet, 2 Eye of Delusion, 3 Iron Chain Binding, 4 Double Transformation, 5 Swamp Trap, 6 Wind Step, 7 Dragon Attack, 8 Dragon Out of the Sea, 9 Flying Dragon in the Sky, 10. Shura Slash, 11. Absolute Defense, 12. Speed Up. Equipment, 1 Shura Demon Spear, Epic Equipment, can be upgraded to Legendary level with upgrade gems. Strength add 1000, Constitution add 3000, Attack Power add 10,000, Additional Skill, Shura Slash, each time you kill an enemy, you will gain Shura Rage. When enough rage is accumulated, you can release Shura Slash to cause a lot of damage to the enemy. Equipment, 2, Shura Helmet, Epic Equipment, Defense add 2000, Energy add 2000, Strength add 2000, Agility add 2000. Additional skills, the more you fight, the stronger you become. In the red eye state, continuous fighting will increase the upper limit of each attribute, up to 1 times. Equipment, 3, Shura Armor, Epic Equipment, Defense add 2500, Command add 1000, Additional skills, 1 block critical hits, passive skills, 2 absolute defense, immune to all attacks, lasts 10 minutes, CD, 24 hours. Equipment, 4, Shura Leg Armor, Epic Equipment, Health add 10,000, Internal Force add 5,000, Defense add 3,000, Additional skills, on protracted battle, in the red eye state, the attacks you cause will restore yourself, including physical strength, life, mental strength, etc., and you will be more and more excited the more you kill. Equipment, 5, Shura Boots, Epic Equipment, Agility add 2000, with additional skills, speed, in the red eye state, your agility value will gradually increase, and the current agility will be doubled. This equipment is exclusive to the red eye Shura unless in special circumstances, the equipment cannot be damaged or transferred to others for use. Wang Shuo felt the changes in himself. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. This is the horror of the title Shura. This is why a master has to come to make friends in person? This is the qualification to become the top powerhouse on the continent? Wang Shuo originally thought that the Shura suit was just a set of equipment. But now it seems that this is not a set of equipment, it is clearly a set of artifacts. Moreover, the quality of each piece of equipment can be improved. Wang Shuo dared not imagine what it would be like after the upgrade to legendary quality. Just when Wang Shuo was stunned and felt invincible. Master Tong Chui said leisurely, "Do you feel that you are invincible?" Wang Shuo woke up instantly. "I dare not." Wang Shuo was quite low-key, knowing that there are always people who are better than you, and he did not dare to act rashly in front of an old master. To tell you the truth, the strength of Shura generals is not only reflected in personal combat power. If you only rely on your current strength, you can barely dominate the entire continent. But if you want to go to the central dynasty, it's not enough. Imagine what the scene would be if you had 10 Shura generals under your command. In addition, there are many non-Shura generals who also have the strength of the strongest king. This continent is far from as simple as you think. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 418. Wang Shuo was shocked and broke out in a cold sweat when he heard this. Thank you for your advice, Master. You are a teachable child. I have only one request to make exclusive equipment for you. Of course, you can refuse it. Please be clear, Master. Wang Shuo bowed his hands. To get this set of Shura suit, Wang Shuo didn't know what the other party spent, but it was definitely not easy to do. So far, I have made exclusive equipment for 5 Shuras, but unfortunately, 2 of them have fallen. In this world today, no one can stay out. People like you are destined to shine on the continent. I just hope that one day in the future, if the sky city of my Tianchuang Empire is in trouble, you can lend a hand. Without waiting for Wang Shuo to speak, Master Tong Chui said, the empire has its own destiny. If it is destroyed, it will be destroyed, but my descendants hope to be taken care of by you. Wang Shuo looked at Master Tong Chui and couldn't calm down for a long time. I am still a small county governor, and I can't accept it for a while. How can I be qualified to protect the descendants of an empire? Master Tong Chui, what is the relationship between you and the Tianchuang Empire? Hey, my real name is Ye Xiaofei, and I am a member of the royal family of the Tianchuang Empire. I asked Master Tianji to tell me before. The fate of the Tianchuang Empire has come to an end. I am powerless to change it. I can only make more good connections and leave a way for future generations to survive. Wang Shuo looked at Master Tong Chui, as if he saw an old man who was explaining his affairs. People are subject to misfortunes at any time, and no one knows what the future will be like. Wang Shuo also felt the same way. Master, if I have the ability to protect your descendants in the future, I will definitely do it. Okay, your words are enough. Master Tong Chui stayed in the way for a few more days, and Wang Shuo accompanied him to investigate the situation here. This place should be the site of the original Black Dragon City in the North Sea Empire. Time flies, and 1,000 years have passed. Wang Shuo's eyes widened, revealing an incredible expression. Master Tong Chui looked at Wang Shuo's appearance, shook his head and laughed. I haven't lived that long. It is said that there is a treasure of the North Sea Empire left in Black Dragon City. I don't know if it is true. If it is true, the Black Dragon King would have opened it long ago, and it would not have been left until now. Wang Shuo laughed and just thought it was a legend. At this time, Wang Shuo suddenly thought of something. Master Tong Chui, your family name is Yet. I wonder if you have heard of a person named Ye Shuai. Master Tong Chui pondered for a while and replied, I do have a great-granddaughter named Ye Shuai, but we are tens of thousands of kilometers apart. How do you know her? Wang Shuo's heart thumped when he heard it. He didn't know whether it was the same person, so he had to find an excuse and change the subject. Master Tong Chui, I want to ask you how to activate the red pupil state. Wang Shuo had tried it, but he didn't find out how to activate the red pupil state. Master Tong Chui frowned. He was not a Shura warrior and didn't know more about it. You might as well try it in actual combat to see if you can find a way to activate it. Okay, I can only give it a try. After staying for a few days, Master Tong Chui left. Before leaving, he took Mutar with him and agreed to let him be a registered disciple. Wang Shuo naturally agreed. Mutar and Wang Shuo were only in an employment relationship. Although it was not a full year, the two sides got along well. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 419. Udon was already an intermediate blacksmith at this time, and there were also advanced blacksmiths in Shanghai City. A Mutar was no longer that important to the entire Dawei domain. Wang Shuo immediately came to the ancient battlefield, adjusted the boss there to the level of a general, and then started fighting with him. In the ancient battlefield, the highest level was only a junior general, which made Wang Shuo's battle a little unsatisfying. He released the Ice Phoenix Emperor again as a sparring partner. At the beginning, Wang Shuo saw that the Ice Phoenix Emperor was completely invincible. At this time, Wang Shuo was fully confident that he could defeat it. Even in the heyday of the Ice Phoenix Emperor, he could still defeat it. With the blessing of the Shura suit, Wang Shuo could already fight against the advanced generals. But he still didn't find a way to stimulate his red pupil state, which made him a little irritable. He couldn't fully exert his strength, which made him a little uncomfortable. But the news of his subordinates' breakthroughs came, and his irritable heart was still calmed down a little. 3 months passed quickly. During this period, Zhao Bangde had been trying to find Wang Shuo to compete, and Wang Shuo had no choice but to agree. Zhao Bangde only had the strength of a mid-level general, and was completely different from the current Wang Shuo. Even Wang Shuo's defense had to be broken with a big move. Even if Zhao Bangde took out a killer move that he had never used before, it was still easily resolved by Wang Shuo. This deeply stimulated Zhao Bangde. In response, Zhao Bangde has been in seclusion for 1 month. The affairs of the 3 counties are basically managed by Wang Shuo and Zhu Dongheng. Zhu Dongheng also consciously took Wang Shuo as the main person. After all, his strength was there, and he put himself in a very correct position. He was a man of vision. On this day, Zhao Bangde was still in seclusion, and Wang Shuo and Zhu Dongheng came to the Great Wall for inspection. Wang Shuo used his hand to probe the strength of the barrier, and it was still unbreakable. Once the barrier disappears, it is unknown what kind of enemy he will face. And it will be directly integrated into the big family of the Xinwu Empire. At that time, the entire Dawei domain will be like a grain of sand, integrated into the desert. A vast world will be fully displayed in front of the people of Dawei domain. Wang Shuo was actually looking forward to it. According to Dongfang Ling, people like his father are generally strong at the level of high-level generals, but there are only 2 or 3 in a city at most. As for Shura generals, he has only heard of them, at least there are none in their area. This gave Wang Shuo a lot of confidence. Various weapons and supplies are fully capable of arming the army of Dawei domain. At present, there are more than 2 million troops in the 3 counties. Compared with the last battle, the strength has increased several times, mainly due to the resource exchange stone. The number of generals at all levels has increased exponentially. There are thousands of high-level generals alone, hundreds of top generals, and more than 20 generals. If he can deal with the Black Dragon King with this strength, Wang Shuo believes that he can beat the Black Dragon King directly. The war is coming, and Zhao Bangde has to come out. Zhao Bangde has been holding back a lot of energy, wanting to break through the intermediate general, but he did not succeed. Wang Shuo had to comfort him a few times, which made Zhao Bangde even more uncomfortable. But Zhao Bangde was not a petty person, and he quickly adjusted his mentality and focused on the next battle. Lu Hong personally came out on the other side of the barrier, dressed in military uniform, with 4 senior generals and 1 million armored soldiers in front of him. Lu Hong's army was far more than this, but to guard against other enemies, he could only mobilize so many. At the same time, he personally came out, which was considered to be extremely important to this operation. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 420. Not far from Lu Hong's million-strong army was the monster army of the Wagner Empire. There were more than 2 million monster troops alone. The reason why the monster army was so large was mainly because monsters had strong reproductive ability and their soldiers recovered very quickly. Compared with Lu Hong's personal appearance, the Demon King did not come in person. The one in charge of this attack was another leader of the monsters, the chief of the Tianlang tribe, Tan Lang. The order he received this time was to destroy the Dawei domain if possible, and to destroy Lu Hong if he couldn't. Anyway, human forces were all his enemies. Lu Hong was his ally before, but now the Demon King has secretly allied with Qingyang City. Taking advantage of this battle, perhaps Taixu Ridge can be divided, which is also very good. Wang Shuo was still responsible for the defense of the monster side, and Zhao Bangde and Zhu Dongheng were responsible for defending the section where Lu Hong attacked. The barrier disappeared, and the battle officially began. Wang Shuo's army, at this time, had skyrocketed in strength, but in order to maximize the preservation of living forces, did not take the initiative to attack. With the protection of the city wall, the defenders will have the advantage of terrain. The monster's attack is still the same. First, a large number of ordinary beasts will consume the defenders' equipment. Wang Shuo is also familiar with this. After enough beasts gather below, directly use the thunder, and thunder. There are also tung oil and rockets. The monsters are immediately trapped in the sea of fire. A large barbecue scene. After several battles, Wang Shuo has become accustomed to this kind of tragic battlefield. Due to the sufficient supplies for the defense of the city, the beast vanguard was wiped out in less than an hour. The monster leader Tanlang saw that the cannon fodder was wiped out and had to send out the monster elite. But the monster's attack intensity is much worse than Lu Hong's bloodthirsty army. After only 1 hour of fighting, Lu Hong had already sent a large number of ladders and at least half of the troops to attack fearlessly. The cloud ladder in the battlefield is not a staircase, but a building-like structure with a huge base, which is higher than the city wall. Once close to the city wall, it is difficult for the defenders to destroy it. Unless it is a general-level master, stepping on the cloud ladder and using weapons to destroy it. But there are naturally masters guarding the cloud ladder. The battle soon entered a white-hot stage. There was no tentative attack at all, and both sides had already laid out their carriages and horses. The competition is about who has more siege and defense supplies. And who has more masters. Lu Hong stood on a high platform in the distance and saw the strength of the Dewey domain, and an ominous premonition rose in his heart. He didn't expect that there would be so many general-level masters in the Dewey domain. Is this still a new area? Compared with his old power, it is not much worse. Originally thought that the 1,000,000 troops he assembled were enough to sweep across the Dewey domain, but he didn't expect that the number of the opponent was not less than his own. It's just that the level and equipment of ordinary soldiers are still inferior to his own. Otherwise, he would have doubted whether he had walked into the wrong battlefield. At this time, he was very fortunate to have invited an ally. He could restrain half of the opponent's strength, otherwise, he would not have to fight this battle at all. Standing on the city wall, Wang Shuo saw the monsters attacking timidly. He was quite unsatisfied. Wang Shuo could kill a large number of these low-level monsters in front of him with a sweep. In order to test the strength of the Shurasuit, Wang Shuo jumped directly and jumped off the city wall. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 421. In the monster pile, Wang Shuo faced many monsters alone, and he was not afraid at all. The dark golden armor looked very ordinary, but the Shura demon spear in his hand exuded a charming light. With a casual stab, a monster was stabbed in the head and died on the spot. Wang Shuo felt an inexplicable airflow accumulating in his body. This should be anger. Wang Shuo grinned, and his moves were open and closed. Monsters below the level of generals would die immediately. His current ordinary attacks have 40,000 damage. As long as they hit, they are basically dead. This feeling made Wang Shuo passionate. He blocked the attack of the monster army alone. The leader of the greedy wolf saw that there was actually an intermediate general who rushed into the monster pile to fight. There was a cold light in his eyes, as the saying goes, soldiers against soldiers, generals against generals. How could this general have no martial ethics at all? Then, he looked at an intermediate general beside him. Little pig, go and meet him. Don't let the opponent interrupt our offensive rhythm. Although it's just acting, if the opponent alone can hold back our millions of troops, it will make people laugh. Yes, Commander. This demon general named Little Pig is a pig, but not an ordinary pig. He shouted and turned into his original body. His body is more than 20 meters long, with 2 sharp fangs, 3 meters long, and his body is covered with hair like steel needles. It can be soft or hard. His skin is also very hard, and he has trained it to the level of copper skin. It can be said that if it weren't for the magic weapon, even his defense could not be broken. He was quite confident in his defense, so he jumped forward and jumped dozens of meters. He came in front of Wang Shuo. Wang Shuo was happy. He had accumulated so much Shura's anger and just needed the opportunity to release it. Shura slash. Wang Shuo aimed at the giant pig and poured all his anger into the Azura demon-breaking spear, without even exerting his internal strength. Instantly, a colorful spear light that seemed to be able to split the sky and the earth fell from the sky. The huge knife-shaped light, 40 meters long, hit the giant pig with a force of 1,000 pounds. A scene that Wang Shuo had not expected appeared. The ferocious giant pig was split into 2 halves like a piece of tofu. This scene made everyone on the battlefield stop attacking. Shocked. Petrified. All the people or beasts who saw the scene could not believe their eyes. One of the little demons, who was splashed with blood, shook his head and rubbed his eyes, thinking that he had hallucinations. The demon beasts naturally knew that their master pig was a diamond boss comparable to the strength of a human intermediate general. Diamond boss, this is probably a state that they can never reach in their entire lives. Then, he was killed in seconds. Countless demon beasts were already scared out of their wits. He even had the idea of escaping from the battlefield. Seeing this, Tan Lang was a little confused for a while. However, this human warrior was indeed only a mid-level warrior. "Don't retreat!" he shouted, no longer shrinking, wanting to tear it apart personally. Wang Shuo consumed all his anger, felt the power of this attack, and had a deep understanding of this move in his heart. But the disadvantage of this move is also very obvious, and it requires continuous accumulation of anger. Fortunately, just now, he figured out 2 more things. First, you can get anger by killing the enemy. If you don't kill the opponent, you can also get anger by releasing skills, but the efficiency is much lower. Second, the red pupil state requires anger to be consumed to open, and once it is opened, it will also consume anger. It seems that the use restrictions of the Shura suit are very obvious. The most suitable place to play is the battlefield. Only here can you quickly accumulate anger. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 422. Wang Shuo continued to kill the enemy. Suddenly, the opponent's supreme commander, Tan Lang, came down in person. Wang Shuo was not afraid, but slightly excited. As a high-level warrior, Tan Lang's strength was unquestionable. He did not turn into a beast. Instead, he kept a human wolf head. Werewolf. He was wearing armor and holding double-hook weapons in both hands. The monsters around him automatically made way for him. "Who are you?" "I don't kill nameless people." Seeing Wang Shuo so brave, Tan Lang wanted to find out Wang Shuo's origins. He, I'm just a nobody, otherwise, don't kill me." Wang Shuo sneered and did not stop killing. Seeing that the opponent ignored him, Tan Lang let out a long howl and asked the monsters around him to retreat, leaving the battlefield to Wang Shuo and himself. He wanted to personally put an end to this guy who despised him. In the field, there were no other monsters around Wang Shuo, and he began to deal with Tan Lang seriously. Wang Shuo took a quick step forward, thrusting the spear in his hand forward, and a dragon-shaped phantom came straight out, turning into a dragon and striking. This was a test of the opponent's strength. Greed crossed his 2 hooks in front of his chest, and pushed forward again, directly slashing the dragon-shaped phantom. Seeing the opponent's nonchalant look, it was obvious that he had not tried his best. Wang Shuo could not help but be cautious, as the opponent was qualified to be his opponent. Wang Shuo's biggest advantage was the attribute bonus brought by the Shura suit, but he was still one level lower than Greed. The two offset each other, and it was a 50-50 split. At the beginning, Greedy Wolf had the upper hand, but the more he fought, the more he felt something was wrong. The opponent seemed to have endless energy, and all kinds of moves were seamlessly connected, like a storm, and Greedy Wolf began to switch from offense to defense. In the end, he became passive and could not find a chance to counterattack. Greedy Wolf was horrified. Finally, after several rounds of fighting, Wang Shuo felt that he had accumulated enough anger, and then launched the ultimate move Shura Slash again. Seeing the giant light blade falling from the sky again, Tan Lang's heart was like a storm. He quickly sacrificed a tortoise shield and raised his hands above his head. This tortoise shield is an epic defensive shield. The main reason why he maintains his human form is that he can use weapons. The light blade slashed on the tortoise shield and directly shattered it. Behind Tan Lang, there was a long gully. Because the tortoise shield offset most of the damage of Shura Slash, Tan Lang did not die on the spot, but he was also seriously injured at this time. He immediately fled the battlefield and fled in a hurry with his men. In this battle, he had never thought of attacking the Dawei territory. He was seriously injured at this time and just left. The army of monsters retreated like a tide, and Wang Shuo on the battlefield was a little confused. Even if the main general was injured, there was no need for the whole army to retreat. Seeing this, the soldiers on the city gate tower immediately burst into thunderous cheers. The monster retreated, and Wang Shuo could just make Lu Hong a dumpling. So, Wang Shuo's Red Flame Legion immediately came to the city wall and reorganized the formation. On the other side of the Great Wall, Lu Hong had no idea that the monster had retreated. Zhao Bang did not advance rashly, but fought a defensive battle in a conventional manner. Lu Hong was not in a hurry. He was enjoying fine wine and delicious food at the command center. He made up his mind to let the monster consume more of the manpower of the Dawei territory. Report: a large number of enemy troops appeared on the right side of our army. Hearing the spy's report, Lu Hong's hand holding the grapes trembled leisurely. But he was not too panicked. At this time, wanting to take the risk of deterring to attack his base camp was simply courting death. Little did he know, is it the reason for a lone army to go deep into the enemy's territory. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Chi Wen. Chapter 423. Send a message to the leader of Tan Lang immediately, and ask him to join us in attacking this rash enemy army. He said to the messenger, and asked the maid to put on armor for him, intending to go and see for himself which blind guy dared to attack his base camp. At this time, Wang Shuo had led 100,000 troops and circled behind Lu Hong, forming a pincer attack on him. Lu Hong never dreamed that the army of Dawei Domain would dare to fight him under the city wall. At this time, Zhao Bang had also personally taken action and led a group of masters to kill down the city wall. Countless ropes were hung upside down from the city wall, and soldiers slid down from them continuously. The offensive of the attackers was immediately frustrated and was defeated. Lu Hong was surprised to see the vanguard army retreat. Does the other side want to fight to the death? Do they not care about the monsters on the opposite side? Messenger, where are our monster allies? At this time, a panting soldier hurriedly reported. Lord, the monsters have withdrawn. When Lu Hong heard this, he seemed to have lost all his energy and spirit, and he retreated a few steps dejectedly. No wonder the other side dared to confront me head-on. It seems that there is no worry. At this moment, Lu Hong also had the idea of retreating. The number of top masters in the Wei domain far exceeds that of himself, and he is definitely not going to win. Just when Lu Hong was panicking, Wang Shuo had already rushed over with the cavalry. Although Lu Hong is also a high-level general, he has not fought in person for a long time. Seeing the enemy cavalry with great momentum, coming fiercely, he hurriedly took a few confidants and fled to the side. The defeat was like a mountain collapsing. Without the command of the general, the bloodthirsty army was like a pile of loose sand, and each fled for his life. The boss has run away, why fight? Your life is your own. No killing for surrender. On the battlefield, all the soldiers of the Dawei territory shouted in unison. The soldiers of the bloodthirsty legion put down their weapons in groups and raised their hands above their heads. Lu Hong looked back and a burst of anger instantly rushed to his head. The beast is really unreliable. At this time, he hated both the Dawei territory and the Demon King. This time, he would definitely uproot these two forces. Wang Shuo saw the enemy's main general escape, so how could he give up this opportunity? Immediately, he took Ayub and other generals to open the acceleration formation, and took the Golden Fire Cavalry and the Hell Knights to chase the fleeing enemy. Wang Shuo learned a lot of formations in the War General Tower, and the number and level were not comparable to Ayub and others. Soon, Wang Shuo caught up with Lu Hong. Iron-blooded lord, huh? Lu Hong looked at Wang Shuo with a sadistic smile on his face heavy. Who would have thought that the insignificant little character would grow up to be a mid-level general and organize such a large cavalry unit? What do you want? If you let me go today, I promise that I will never invade the Dawei territory. Lu Hong said solemnly. He still didn't understand the situation at all. Wang Shuo had to remind him politely, Lord Taixu, first of all, I remind you that you are now surrounded. If nothing unexpected happens, you should not be able to escape. Secondly, your territory should be under attack from major forces such as the Wagliang Empire, Qingyang City, and Sunset City. I'm afraid that your territory will be divided up soon. Lord Survival, My Shelter in Crocodile Territory. Author, Qi Wen. Chapter 424. Impossible, stop bluffing me here, I have millions of troops. Lu Hong immediately denied it, but a trace of doubt arose in his heart. Are you going to surrender? Or let me do it myself? Wang Shuo stared at Lu Hong with sharp eyes and said sternly. Want to catch me? Then we have to see if you have the ability. Lu Hong was puzzled. How could Wang Shuo, a mid-level general, have the confidence to capture a high-level general alive? Wang Shuo stopped talking and stepped forward with a gun. Lu Hong also made up his mind that as long as he could control Wang Shuo, there might be a reversal in this battle. So Lu Hong also urged his horse forward and fought with Wang Shuo. Lu Hong also used a long spear, and the two long spears collided and sent sparks. Feeling the force from the handle of the spear, Lu Hong was shocked. The opponent's mid-level general was actually stronger than his high-level general. Lu Hong no longer held back and used various moves in succession. Wang Shuo was not in a hurry, but fought with the opponent patiently. The masters he would meet in the future would probably be high-level generals, and he still lacked experience in dealing with high-level generals. He should be able to easily control this opponent now, so he naturally had to get familiar with the combat methods of high-level generals from outside the domain. Zhao Bangde had already controlled all the surrendered soldiers at this time, and was only waiting for the war to end before making a decision. Lu Hong noticed that there was another large group of masters on the opposite side, surrounding him. He was even more flustered. He couldn't easily defeat even a small intermediate general. Was he really going to die here today? Wang Shuo was very calm, and now he just waited to capture Lu Hong alive, so that this battle could end perfectly. After fighting with Lu Hong for several rounds and being familiar with his various moves, Wang Shuo decided to end the battle. One move of iron chain binding plus one move of flying dragon in the sky directly killed Lu Hong's mount. Lu Hong himself was also injured, although not fatally, but very embarrassed. Wang Shuo took advantage of Lu Hong's embarrassment and put the tip of his gun on his neck to subdue him. At this point, the war came to an end. The Great Sephora domain was completely incorporated into the Xinwu Empire, and the system functions were synchronized with the Xinwu Empire. Wang Shuo clearly felt that most of the system functions had disappeared. At the same time, there was an additional Xinwu Empire chat channel in the chat channel. But at this time, the channel was empty. After Wang Shuo explored it, he found that this channel needed to be created by himself. Just like the village level channel established before. As for the attribute panel, task panel, etc., they all disappeared. For the people in the Great Sephora domain, it was like growing up at this time, and no one came to take care of them and ask them to do anything. But at the same time, there was no power to protect them. The last layer of the barrier disappeared, and the army of the Great Sephora domain could also step into the outside world. Wang Shuo immediately organized the army and quickly captured a small city in the north of the Great Wall. The main city of the Iron Blood Lord is the Iron Blood City, and the city located on the edge of the Steel Great Wall is called Guancheng. There were only a few troops stationed in the city, and Wang Shuo easily captured the city. The reason for capturing this city was that it was like the gateway to the Great Hui territory. As a vital throat, if it was controlled by others, the Great Hui territory would have to shrink in one place forever. As long as this place was controlled, the passage to a wider world would be mastered.